Hi guys, what's up? I hope you are taking good care of yourselves. So today we are going to begin with this amazing topic called professional ethics. And yes, today's class will discuss about this topic. We are going to discuss a lot about this topic, and you'll find it very refreshing, very interesting. And why are we beginning with this topic? So let me tell you one thing, that this topic can be asked for minimum 12 marks to 15 marks in your audit paper. Yes, this topic contains a weightage of 12 to 15 marks in your audit paper. So you can say that this topic is very interesting, very scoring, and very much relatable to what we see during your articleship period. So I'm sure you will find this topic very amazing, very relatable, and this class will be very interesting for you. So let's begin this class without much ado and discuss about the first topic of this amazing chapter called professional ethics. So first topic is the fundamental principles. Are you all there with me? Are you all there with me? Yes, yes sir, we are there with you. So let's start with the professional ethics. Great. So first of all, if we talk about the fundamental principles, there are 5 fundamental principles that we need to take care about. So what are the 5 fundamental principles? The first one is integrity. What does integrity talks about? We can say a person has integrity when that person is straightforward. He does not, you can say, beat around the bush. He just talks what's there in his heart. He knows what he's talking is. He's honest, he's straightforward, he's sincere whenever he's doing something. So he will never associate himself with anything which is false, which is misleading, or I can say if some information has to be given, he will give it fully. He will never associate with some information which has been omitted. Because generally what we need to understand, that information can either be false or some omission is there, thereby misleading the other person. So whenever a person is having integrity, we can say that person is honest, that person is straightforward, that person is sincere. He is never going to associate himself with certain information which is false, which is misleading, or where the information which was to be given, it has not been given, it has been omitted, or the information that has not been provided diligently. Diligently means after proper caution, after proper due diligence and exercise. So this is all about the integrity. The basics of integrity, I'm sure are clear to you. Yes sir. Now let's talk about objectivity. What is objectivity all about? As we discussed in yesterday's class also, it is important for an auditor to have independence of mind and independence of appearance. Which essay did we do yesterday? Sir, we covered essay 200, overall objectives of independent auditor. When can we say that the auditor is having independence? When he is not only having integrity, but also he is having objectivity. What do we mean by objectivity? When I am doing something, I am not doing under an influence of some other person. I am doing it without any biasness. I'm doing it without any prejudice. I'm not doing because someone has asked me to do it. I am doing because I know it is right. I'm doing because it is based on my own judgment. My judgment is not influenced by any, you can say, external factor, right sir? So if we are not compromising our professional or business judgment because of bias, conflict of interest, or undue influence of others, it can be said that we have the quality of objectivity. So the first quality is integrity, the second quality is objectivity. What's the third quality? The third quality is something that we have gained through our CA intermediate preparations, our CA final preparations, and our articleship period. What have we gained? We have gained professional competence and due care. As a chartered accountant, we have learned through the experience of training, knowledge, and skills. We have got so many professional knowledge and skills, and this knowledge and skills allows us to act diligently. How do we act? We act diligently with proper caution, with utmost caution. We are aware of what we are doing, whatever actions that we are taking. So it helps us to attain and maintain professional knowledge and skill. These knowledge and skills allow us to act diligently and exercise. So what we exercise? Exercise sound judgment. You remember yesterday we discussed about the term called professional judgment. What is professional judgment? Professional judgment is basically the application of the training, the knowledge that you have gained during the course, so that you can apply them during your audit procedures. Similarly, professional competence and due care means that you exercise sound judgment. So that tell us one more thing. It says attain and maintain. To maintain our professional knowledge, don't you think we need to be constantly aware about what's going on around us? Many people say that you should watch the news, you should read the newspapers. Why do they say that? So that we are aware. Let me tell you, when I was there in the EY, I was auditing various companies. You can say every 15 days, every fortnight, we used to get a mailer. What used to be there in that mailer? The Caro updates, Caro 2020 updates, Schedule 3 updates, Companies Act 2013 updates. All these updates, why do you think they were being shared with us? So to make sure we are being updated what's going on in the industry, what's going on in the acts on a regular basis, so that we are continuously aware, about our profession, about the developments in our profession. So continuous awareness and understanding of the technical, professional and business developments. And the last and the not the least, it's not only us who have to be competent. We also need to make sure whoever are working under our supervision, they also have the necessary skills. So we will take the reasonable steps to ensure those working in his authority as a chartered accountant, those who are working in his authority have proper training and supervision. Did you get this point? Yes, sir, we got the point. Professional competence and due care is not only about attaining the skills, but also about maintaining the skills. When we attain the skills, how do we act? We act diligently. What do we exercise? We exercise sound judgment. So it's all about the game of the verbs. How do we act? Sir, we act diligently. What do we exercise? We exercise sound judgment. And in the end, it's not only about us, it's also about our subordinates. We have to take reasonable steps to make sure they are getting proper training, they are also uplifting their skills, and they are working in our supervision. Got the point? Did you get this? Professional competence and due care. Now comes the most exciting one and the most interesting one. Confidentiality. Confidentiality states a basic purpose. Today I am telling you something which I feel that only you should know. Should you disclose it to some other person without my consent, without my knowledge? It is unethical, right? This is what the confidentiality says. It says that a chartered accountant can perform two functions. Either it can do practice or it can work as an employee under someone. So a member can be either a member in practice or a member in service. Be it whether he is a member in practice. If he is serving as a member in practice, he would be serving the clients. If he is a member in the service, he would be serving the employer. So be it the client or be it the employer, both will share their information with the chartered accountant. The chartered accountant will not disclose the information that he is gaining from the client or the employer to anyone without their consent. This is the basic thing that you need to understand. Sir, does it also include the employer who is about to give me the job or the client who is about to give me the assignment? For example, prospective client or prospective employer. Is their information also to be kept confidential? The answer is yes. If I had a previous client or a previous employer, then also the information has to be kept confidential. The answer is yes. Confidentiality has to be maintained. Whether your employer or client was previous one, current one or future one, doesn't matter in which tense you are using, you have to keep the information confidential. But the interesting part is not saying that you have to keep the information confidential. We all know about that. But what we need to understand here is there are certain circumstances where we can actually disclose the information, and these are the circumstances that we need to learn. So what are these circumstances? So first of all, whenever we are studying audit here in this batch, remember that supreme position in our minds would be of the law. Every time whatever law says, it is right. It doesn't matter what the Chartered Accountant Act says. It doesn't matter what we feel. If the law says it, it has to be done. So the point that we need to first understand is when we can actually leave confidentiality behind and disclose the information is when it is required by law. Law takes the supreme position. So when the disclosure is required by law, we will disclose it. Got the point, sir? Second point. The second point is also an obvious one. If the person who has shared the information with you, be it your employer, be it your client, if the person who has shared the information with you has authorized you to share that information with others, then I don't think it's a problem anywhere. So if that person has given you the authorization and it is permitted under the law, you can disclose the information to anyone. So the disclosure is permitted by law and authorized Who has given the authorization? The persons whose information I am disclosing. It can be either the client or my employing organization. Are these 2 points clear? Repeat it after me. The first point is disclosure is required by law because the law is supreme. Second point, the persons whose information it is, he has authorized me and law has also permitted me. And what are the other 4 special points? These are the ones I called special points. Sir, what are these special points? What we'll do is break them into pairs. One pair is good one and one pair is the bad one. So, sir, which is the good one? So, I will say the good one is one in which we talk about peer review and quality review. Our peers are generally good people. So, whenever we have to disclose something under a peer review, what is a peer review? Just to understand it, suppose I have done an audit. Okay. Now ICI wants to make sure that the chartered accountants are performing audit as per the audit procedure stated under standards on auditing. They are maintaining proper quality of their work. So what they will do as an audit firm, they will send a chartered accountant in my firm, and that chartered accountant will come and he will check all the documentation. He will check all the documentation, whatever work I have done, to make sure that I have complied with 3 things. TPE standards. Sir, what do you mean by TPE standards? Technical, professional, ethical standards. Just see it here. That person who will come to check my work, that person will see whether my firm has complied with the standards. Sir, what are the standards? TPE standards. Technical, professional, ethical standards. Repeat after me. What does the peer reviewer checks? Sir, the peer reviewer checks whether I have complied with the technical, professional, ethical standards. So these are the good people. They just come and check, and they, instead of reprimanding us, instead of scolding us, they will suggest us the measures to improve our quality. So two ones are peer review and quality review of the ICI. What happens in peer review, quality review? They check the compliance. They check the compliance with technical, professional, ethical standards. So these are the 2 points that we just did and discussed. So these are the good ones. Now let's talk about the harsh ones. So what are the harsh ones? Inquiry, investigation, inquiry, inspection, investigation. Okay. So when it comes to inquiry, inspection, investigation, the investigator comes. The investigator is full of anger. He will beat you. He will ask you everything, and then you will be drained out of every energy. So that is the harsh one that you need to remember. So the good ones are peer review, quality review. In peer review, quality review, what do they check? They check the compliance with technical, professional, ethical standard. And when it comes to the harsher ones, what are the harsher ones? Inspection, inquiry, investigation. And once you are caught in inspection, inquiry, investigation, you will be dragged to the court. You will be having legal proceedings, and where you are having legal proceedings, you have to protect your interest. So when it comes to protecting your interest, you may be required to disclose some information. So this is what it stated here: to respond to inquiry or investigation by professional or legal body, and when you are caught, you have to protect the professional interest in the legal proceedings. So these are the harsher ones. These are the harsher ones. So 2 good ones, 2 harsher ones, and your answer is complete. So let's revise it again. What can be the different circumstances where I may be required to disclose the information about my client and employer? First one, supreme is law. Very good. So where it is the disclosure is required by law, speak it after me. Where the disclosure is required by law, I may be required to do it. Second, the person whose information is he himself is authorizing me. So the authorization by client and permitted by law. And what are the 4 special circumstances? 2 good ones, 2 harsher ones. 2 good ones, peer review, quality review. Speak it after me. Peer review, quality review. What do the peer reviewer checks? The peer reviewer checks with the compliance with TPE standards. Say it again. TPE standards. TPE means technical, professional, ethical standards. Great. And what are the 2 harsher ones? Inspection, inquiry, investigation. If I am caught in an inspection, inquiry, investigation, I'll be dragged to the court. So to protect myself in a legal proceedings, I may be required to disclose some information. This is how your whole answer is prepared. Did you get this point? Yes or no? Just let me know. Yes or no? Just let me know fast. Are these points clear or not? This is something that you should remember. It can be asked by ICI anytime in the exam. Do let me know. Great. Great. Any doubt, anything you want to ask me right away. I'd be very happy to help you out. Great. पक्का, क्या बात, very good. Now, two small points. So what are the two small points? First thing, when we are disclosing the information, to any person, what are the things that we should consider? These are certain general points. First of all, that we should be confident about that information. That information should be substantiated. We should be sure that whatever information that we are sharing, it is concrete, right, sir? Second thing, whatever information that we are sharing, it should not affect any person, any third person, even the person whose information I am sharing. No person should be affected by this sharing of information. Got the point? Third point, the mode of communication that I'm using for sharing the information. What can be the different modes of communication? It can be by an email, it can be by writing a letter, it can be by calling, it can be any mode of communication. So that it can also be through a pigeon. It used to happen in the ancient times, not valid right now. So there can be different modes of communication. So that is something also that I need to consider. What can be the other things that I may be required to consider here? If I am sharing the information, I am sharing it with the right person. That person is not misusing the information that I am using that with that person. Yes. So these are the different general points that you need to consider before sharing any confidential information. Whether interest of any party, including the third parties, can it be affected? Whether the information is known and substantiated, I am confident about that information, that it is the right information. The proposed type of communication, how I am going to communicate and to whom it is addressed. Whether the parties with whom I am sharing the information are the appropriate recipients. These are the 4 points that you need to consider. Very easy points, just read them and skip them. Got the point, sir? And the last one that we need to consider here in this topic of fundamental principles is professional behavior. The behavior of a chartered accountant should not involve anything which brings the reputation of whole CA profession down, which discredits the profession. For instance, if a chartered accountant is caught involved in fraud, it is not the chartered accountant whose image gets affected, it is the whole profession whose image gets affected. So it's better that we do whatever we do, we are doing it out of utmost diligence. We are not grossly negligent while we are doing our duties. We should have a proper professional behavior when we are carrying out the things. So this is what it says. Avoid any conduct, avoid anything that the accountant knows or should know that might discredit the profession. The basic thing that we all should know. So what are the 5 things? What are the 5 fundamental principles that a chartered accountant is required to follow? Sir, 3 things, similar sound: integrity, objectivity, confidentiality. Speak it again: integrity, objectivity, confidentiality. And 2 professional things: professional competence and due care, and professional behavior. That's it that you need to remember. Again, integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, and the last 2 are professional competence and due care and professional behavior. These are the 5 things that we need to keep in mind. Just have an understanding of their meaning. So the next time I say objectivity, first thing that should strike your mind is unbiasedness, free from any prejudice, free from any biasness, free from any undue influence, having a proper objective attitude. Integrity, straightforward, honest, sincere, not associating with anything false, not associating with anything where there are omissions, where the information has not been provided diligently. Professional competence and due care, attaining and maintaining the skills. How do we attain? When we attain the skills, how do we act? We act diligently. What do we exercise? Sound judgment. Simple points that you need to remember. For our subordinates, we will train them, we will supervise them. Simple points. Then comes confidentiality. Keep everything confidential, but there are certain circumstances when confidential information can be shared. 2 are the simple circumstances and 4 are the special cases, right, sir? And then we discussed, when we are disclosing the information, what are the things that we need to keep in mind. That's it from here. And one more thing, it can happen. Sir, what can happen? I am having integrity. Integrity means being straightforward, being honest. While following my integrity principle, it can happen that I may disclose some confidential information of my client. So are you having a feeling that integrity can be harmful for my confidentiality? So there is a conflict between the 2 fundamental principles. Are you trying to get it? Yes. If I am having integrity, I want to honestly share my thoughts. But when I am going to honestly share my thoughts, it can affect my confidentiality. So what should I do? So there is a conflict between two fundamental principles. So in such a situation where I'm not able to take a decision, don't take the decision, okay? You are not going to take the decision. So what do we do? At home, what do you do? When you are not able to take a decision, what do? You talk to your family, you talk to your friends, you talk to the people who are there within your home, right? So those within the organization of a chartered accountant, they can help. If the people who are there within the organization, they are not able to help, what we'll do? We'll seek some external help. What is the external help? The client. Who do you think is the supreme authority in the client? I told you yesterday that the persons who sit at the top, deciding the strategic direction in which the entity will move, what do we call them? Those charged with governance. So these are the those charged with governance, right, sir? So others within the organization and then those charged with governance. Now even I am not able to decide, even the client is not helping me to decide. So who will we reach out? What do you do in your daily life? You reach out to your mother. Who is the mother body in this case? ICI. So I am not able to do it, the client is not able to do it, we reach out to the mother body, that is the ICI. Now even ICI is not able to help us. What do we do? Supreme, sir, the law. In this case, it will be the legal counsel. It will be the legal counsel. These are the four entities whom we may reach out in case there is a conflict between the fundamental principles. Sir, what are these four entities? First of all, others within my organization. If my organization is not helping me, then the client. In the client, who will I reach out? Management or TCWG? Sir, TCWG, because it is at the top. If TCWG is not able to help me out, my others within my organization are not able to help me out, I will reach out to the mother body, that is the ICI. Even if ICI is not able to work it out, I will reach the supreme institution, that is the legal counsel. This is how it works. So is everything before the types of threats clear to you? Just let me know, yes or no. Is everything till here clear? Then we'll discuss the types of threats. Great. Now let's discuss what are the various types of threats. There are 5 different types of threats. What are these threats? These are the threats to my independence. Why is independence important? The basic thing that we discussed yesterday, overall objectives of independent auditor. It is very important for the auditor to be independent. How can an auditor be independent? By following 5 things: integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, and then the 2 professional ones. Speak it after me: professional competence and due care, and professional behavior. If I have all these 5 elements, I have independence. But there are 5 threats to my independence. What are the 5 threats? First one is self-interest threats. If I am having my own financial interest in the client or any other kind of interest in the client, do you think I would be able to provide my opinion objectively? Will I be having objectivity or will I be having some biasness? A simple question to you. You just need to answer yes or no. Yes, sir, there will be some biasness in this case. So self-interest threat actually says that if you have any sort of interest, financial interest in the client, that can hamper the objectivity, that can hamper my decision-making skills and ultimately my independence. What can be the different situations in which I can have self-interest threat? As I told you, the first kind of interest can be financial interest. Right, sir? And financial interest can be in different forms. What can be the different forms? Let's understand it. So first of all, it can be a financial interest where money is involved, right, sir? What can be the different forms of financial interest? So I am having a client. What do I get from my client? Tell me, sir. Fees. So fees can be one form of financial interest, right? Fees can be one form of financial interest. What do you think? It will be a very less fees or a very heavy fees that I am dependent on it? Sir, it's a very high fees that you are dependent on it. When I am having, just look at it. Okay, just look at the diagram that I am creating right now. Once you understand this diagram, once this mapping gets done in your mind, it will be very easy for you to remember it. Just have this look here. First of all, what I am having? Financial interest. Self-interest threat I am explaining. Just focus here. Financial interest. Why I am having a financial interest? F for financial interest, F for fees. I am getting very heavy fees from the client, such so heavy fees that I am having a fear. You're getting FFF. I have a fear of losing the client. Oh my God. So this can be the first form of financial interest. What can be the second form of financial interest? The client is my business partner. Once your client is your business partner, that means you share profits with that partner. Yes, sir. So once you are having a profit sharing relationship, business relationship, how will you be able to point out that person's mistakes? Yes, I will not be able to do that. So the other form of financial interest can be a business relationship. Business relation. If I am not having a business relation, if I am not getting heavy fees, what do you think can be the other form of financial relation? It can be that the client is offering me a future prospective employment. I am doing the audit right now, but he says me that next year I will give you a very super duper employment position in my organization and you will make at least 5 crore per annum. Do you think I'll be able to point out the mistakes in the financial statements after this statement? The answer is no. If that client is offering me such a heavy package in his organization, a future employment, do you think my objectivity will stay or it will die? Sir, your objectivity will suicide. Okay. So this is something that you need to understand. If my client is offering me future employment opportunities, I won't be able to get my objectivity in place. I won't be able to get my independence of mind in place. So these are the various situations in which financial self-interest threat can be created. First of all, a direct financial interest. A basic example of direct financial interest would be having a shareholding in the client. If I am a shareholder of the client, I would always want the financial statement should show higher revenue, higher profits, higher value of assets, lesser and lesser liabilities. This would be my call. Second, how comes the financial interest can be in other cases? Fees. Such a heavy fees that I'm very much dependent on it. When the fees is so high, I have a fear. Oh my God. When the fees is so high, I have somewhere a fear of losing the client. Another way of having a financial interest could be a business relationship, or the client is offering me a prospective employment in his organization. So these are the circumstances that can create self-interest threat. Direct financial interest, undue dependence on the fees. The fees is so high that I have a concern about losing the client, fear of losing the client, and he is offering me potential employment, business relationship with the client. And the last one can be I am having access to a confidential information which can be used for personal gain. The classic example of this is insider trading. Sir, how come insider trading can take place? So the auditor gets access to the financial statement before they are released to the general public. Once he has access to the financial statement, if he uses that information for making gains, that is called insider trading. So this is how insider trading can also affect his independence. I hope all of these points are clear. Now you are also able to retain them. If you want, you can spend 1 minute in retaining them because they are very important to be understood and learned by heart. Are these 5-6 points clear? Just let me know yes or no. Are these 5 points clear? Quickly tell me. Then we'll move to the other threats. Are these 5 points clear? Great. Very good. So now I hope self-interest threat is clear. Just let's read through its definition. Sir, the threat that a financial or other interest will inappropriately influence a professional accountant's judgment or behavior. It can be financial or any other type of interest which is influencing my behavior. Now, other one is self-review threat. As the name suggests, I am the one who has actually, you can say, solved the answer sheet, and I am the one who is checking the paper. Take it from this stance, if ICI allows you that it says you write the paper and you check it yourself, do you think you will point out your own mistakes? The answer is no. No one is ready to accept his or her own mistakes. When you will check your paper, you will give yourself 100 on 100, even 110 out of 100, because you will feel that you should get extra marks for good handwriting. So self-review threat says you cannot review the work that you have done. You cannot review the work you have done. When you are reviewing the work you have done, there is no sense of objectivity. You will always be having a positive bias towards your work. So it says it's a threat that a professional accountant will not appropriately evaluate the results of previous judgments made or activity performed by the accountant or by another individual within the accountant firm or employing organization on which the accountant will rely when forming a judgment as a part of the current activity. So again, I will not be doing a proper evaluation of the work if that work has been done by me, if that judgment has been made by me, if the activity has been done by me or by someone who is a part of my own firm. Who am I? I am the accountant. So this is what something it is trying to convey. So the self-review threat says that it is a threat that a professional accountant will not appropriately evaluate. Sir, what he will not properly evaluate? The previous judgments that were made by him, the previous activity that was performed by him or by any other person who was the part of the accountant's firm or employing organization. This is all about the self-review threat. Here I have a certain conflict with the points that ICI has given. So here you can write, currently you can skip this topic. If anytime in future I get some proper response from ICI, I will make you go through this topic. Currently we are skipping it and I will give you any update if I get anything from ICI. So let's move to the next threat, which is called the advocacy threat. Let's read this threat and it will give us insights about what it is all about. Advocacy, as a name suggests, what do you get to know about a profession? Name a profession which is matching with the advocacy threat. So advocate. You're getting this feel? Sir, it can be an advocate. So if I am talking about advocate, what does an advocate do? He promotes. Sir, what does he promote? He promotes the interest of his client in front of the judge. The judge is sitting, the client is here. What am I doing as an advocate? I will say, Judge, my client is right. He is doing everything right. Why can't you see? See, he did this. I have this fact. What I am doing? I am just promoting his interest. What do you think? If that client is a financial statement audit client and I am acting as his advocate, is this the right thing to do? Isn't it making us both related? Will I be able to point out his mistakes in the financial statement? The answer is no. So the advocacy threat says, threat that a professional accountant will promote a client's or employing organization's position to the point that the accountant's objectivity is compromised. Accountant's objectivity is compromised. When will the accountant's objectivity is compromised? When he is promoting, what he is promoting? The client or the employing organization's position. You are getting why employing organization? Because it is not necessary that a CA will do only practice. He can also act as an employee. He can also act as a member in service. Member in service means CA has two options. Either he can do his own practice or he can serve as an employee of an organization. Getting the point? Yes, sir. So what do you think can be the example of advocacy threat? First example would be acting as an advocate. Second example would be acting as a promoter, promoting the shares. So what first example will be promoting the shares of the company when the company is a financial statement audit client. Second point is acting as an advocate. What does the advocate do? He deals with law. So you must have heard that when the GST Act was prepared, what do you think? Who prepared the GST Act? The ministers? No. It was prepared by the professionals. And when an act is prepared by the professional, chartered accountants are called. They are asked for their expert advice. As it happens in Kaun Banega Crorepati, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, there is a proper lifeline called expert advice. So similarly, when a law is framed, at that point also there is a meeting of experts where they discuss about the law. What should be the additions to the law? What should be the deletions from the law? So it can happen that I as a chartered accountant can be invited to such meeting and I can feel that if a proper provision is added to the law, it can benefit my client. If I am constantly pushing the committee to add that provision in the act, that means I am lobbying in favor of a legislation on behalf of my client. This is what this line tries to convey. Understand it again. If I as a chartered accountant, I am in the committee that is discussing about a new legislation, a new law, and I feel if a particular provision is added, it can favor my client. I call this lobbying in favor of legislation on behalf of a client, and this is also a part of your advocacy threat. So what are the three types of advocacy threat? Repeat it after me. First of all, promoting the shares, not only promoting the interest but also promoting the shares. Then comes acting as an advocate for the client, and the third one is advocate, he does law, so lobbying in favor of legislation on behalf of the client. These are the 3 points that you need to remember. Yes sir. Are these 3 points clear? Yes sir, these 3 points are clear. Now let's move to familiarity threat. As the name suggests, what type of threat it is? That it means I am having a close or family relationship. I am having a close or family relationship with someone in the client. Who can be that someone? Either someone who is there at a top position. So top position, who is there? TCWG. But here we will not use the word TCWG. We will use the word directors or officers. So if I am having a close family relationship with the directors or officers of the client, I can say there is a familiarity threat. Second point, I'm not having a relation with the directors or officers, but with an employee. See, listen it again very carefully. Familiarity threat, I'm having a family relationship, you got this point, with someone who is at the top, directors or officers. So this is the first case. What can be the second case? That person is not a director or officer, but he is someone who is in a position in the organization where he can exert, do it again, as I am doing, exert pressure on the chair you are sitting, exert direct influence on the subject matter of the engagement. What is the subject matter of the engagement? It is something around which the whole engagement revolves. For example, I am doing a financial statement audit. What do you think a subject matter is? The subject matter is the financial statements that are getting audited. The whole audit process is revolving around these financial statements, whether they give a true and fair view or not. So this is something that you need to understand. Either I can be having a family relationship with the top people, that is the directors or officers, or with an employee who is actually preparing those financial statements. But how does ICI frames it? It says having a family relationship with an employee who is in a position to exert direct influence over the subject matter of engagement. I may be looking like a cartoon, but this is how you need to remember it. Don't do it in the exam hall. Don't try these stunts in the exam hall. These are just for you to remember that this is something that you should consider, right sir? So the second point is having a family relationship with a person who is in a position to exert direct influence on the subject matter of engagement. You got these 2 points. I promise you the third point will be very easy for you. Sir, what is the third point? It is an extension of the first 2 points. So it says that in our firm, there was a former partner. Now that partner has taken those positions about which I was afraid. Sir, what are those positions? He has now become the director or officer of the client, or he has now become that employee who is in a position to exert direct influence over the subject matter of engagement. Let's read these points. You will get it. So the first point is, the member of our engagement team, what he is having close or immediate family relationship with the director or officer of the client. First point done. Or a member of the engagement team is having a family relationship with an employee who is in a position to exert direct and significant influence over the subject matter of engagement. Got these 2 points, sir? Or our former partner has taken these 2 positions. Sir, what has the former partner done? He is now the director or officer of the client, or he is the employee who is in a position to exert direct and significant influence over the subject matter of engagement. Are these 3 points clear? Yes sir, these 3 points are clear. The fourth point, it just says that when you are having a long relationship with everyone, when you are meeting someone for a very, very long time, it all develops into something which is also a family type of relation. So if you are having a long association with the client, then it can also create a familiarity threat. For example, I am auditing the client for last 15 years. Let's say if I am auditing the client for last 15 years, within 15 years, we have developed such a strong relationship. We have lunch together, we have dinner together, we party together, we go to Goa together, we travel to Maldives together, we have our kids' marriage, we invite each other, we do everything together. So what do you think? Will I be able to point out his mistakes? The answer is no. My objectivity will get hampered. So if you are having a long association of an audit team member with the client, again, it can create a familiarity threat. You must have heard about this concept called rotation of auditors. Why do you think that concept was brought in Companies Act 2013? The main reason was this, that long association of the clients with the auditors created this familiarity threat. Are the points of familiarity threat clear? Yes or no? Are these points clear? Just let me know. 4 points, relationship with director or officer, or with an employee who is in a position to exert direct influence on the subject matter of engagement, or our former partner has now taken these positions that I talked about in the first 2 points. And the last point is having a long association with the client. Great, Vishnu. Vishnu says, yes, sir, everything is clear. Others, please let me know fast so that we can move ahead. We are spending the time so that we can spend the time in learning, that too in the class. That's why we are spending time. Clear, sir? Great, sir. Yes, sir. Chalo. Let's move to the next part, intimidation threats. What do we mean by intimidation? Intimidation, as the word suggests, you are intimidating someone. Intimidation means you are making someone uncomfortable. Just get the essence. You are making someone uncomfortable. That is intimidation. How can you make someone uncomfortable? By placing a bullet on his head, by placing a pistol on his head and saying, hey, just listen to me and do what I say. You are threatening someone. You are threatening someone. You are playing with someone's emotions by placing a threat. So it says, when you are threatening someone with dismissal or replacement, you are telling a chartered accountant, agree with me, otherwise I will replace you. Otherwise, I will dismiss you. The chartered accountant may agree with the client. This can affect his objectivity. So, if you are creating a threat, of course, the chartered accountant's fundamental principles can get affected. Next thing, feeling pressured. So, what kind of pressure? Pressure to agree with the judgment of the client because client says that I have expertise on the matter in question. It can be happen that a chartered accountant has just qualified in the May 22 examinations. He's a very new novel chartered accountant, just qualified the May 22 examination. Now he is opening his practice. He goes on to audit a company, and that company has lasted for say last 50 years. So the management of the company says, hey, chartered accountant, you are such a newbie. You don't even know how anything works. We are the people who have been in the business for last 50 years. We have expertise on this. Okay, just agree with our judgment or we'll replace you with some other person. Okay, so just remember this point, that in case a chartered accountant is made to feel pressured that he is not having any expertise, it's the company that is having the expertise, so he should agree with the judgment. That is also an example of intimidation threat. And the last one is being informed that the planned promotion will not occur. If a chartered accountant is working as an employee and the employer says that I will not promote you unless you agree with an improper accounting treatment. Improper accounting treatment means he wants to bluff with the accounts. He may be wanting to show some higher revenue. He may be wanting to show some lower expenses. It can be anything. If the accountant will not agree, he will not be promoted. That means again the accountant is being made uncomfortable. He is being made to accept the views of his employer. So being informed that the planned promotion will not occur unless the accountant agrees with the improper accounting treatment. Sir, can you help us and let us know how can we remember these 3 points? So just remember the chronology. First of all, you are creating a threat. What threat? That his promotion will not occur. Again, you are creating a threat that his promotion will not occur. If we are creating a threat that the person will feel being pressured, then the person will feel pressured. So just draw this flow chart. First of all, we are creating a threat. Sir, what threat? That the promotion will not occur. Okay. And then when we are creating the threat that promotion will not occur, that person will feel pressured. Then that person will feel pressured. So these are the 3 points that you need to remember. Threatened with dismissal or replacement. Promotion will not occur unless he agrees with the improper accounting treatment. And the third one is feeling pressure to agree with the judgment of the client because he says he has expertise on that topic. So these are the 3 points that you need to remember. Are the intimidation threats clear? If the intimidation threats are clear, we will move to the next topic, which was asked in your May 19 examinations. Sir, what about chartered accountants who are appearing for their clients in income tax departments? So when a chartered accountant represents the clients in income tax department, he is not promoting any interest of the client. He is just providing the information that his client has given to the income tax department. He is not doing anything. He is just acting as a professional who has been given a duty to do so. nothing else. He will never go and tell to the income tax department that my client is right, I am right, nothing like this. As a ethical chartered accountant, he is just required to take the information, take the material from the client and represent it to the income tax authorities, nothing else. Are these points, 3 points clear? Yes or no? Just let me know. Cool. Got it, Rachel? Yes, sir. Now, we have talked about 5 threats. How do we remember it? First of all, tell us, sir. How do we remember it? So, basic way of remembering it, I will tell you it right away. So, the basic way of remembering it, just say this thing, Safi. Just repeat it after me. Sir, Safi. What is Safi? So, Saf means clean. Clean, what we call clean in Hindi, what we call clean as Saf. So, Saf means to clean something. So, to clean the threats. So, when this question comes, types of threats, we have to deal with it. Yes, sir, we have to deal with it. How do we deal with it? We deal with it a tonic. Consider it as a tonic to deal with such question. So, to deal with the question on the different types of threats, what tonic do we use? We use a tonic called SAFI. Sir, what does this SAFI stands for? First, S stands for self-interest threat. Then those example of financial interest, fees from the client, undue dependence on the client, and business relationship, future employment, those points. Then the other S is self-review threats. That is, the client will not appropriately review the work that he has already performed. Sir, A means advocacy threats, acting as an advocate, promoting the shares, and what was the third point? Lobbying in favor of legislation, right? And F means familiarity threat. Those 4 points, basic points: family relationship with the director or officer, family relationship with an employee who's in a position to exert direct influence on subject matter of engagement, or our former partner has taken those 2 positions, and the last one was long association with the client. And the I one is intimidation threats. I told you the 3 points. First of all, you create a threat, threat that a promotion will not occur, and the person feels being pressured. So SAFI is the tonic that you will use to deal with the question on different types of threats. This question has also been asked by ICI in the previous examinations. So please remember this tonic. Can I expect everyone to write this tonic and tell us if the question is different types of threats, what tonic will you use? So this is the question from my side. What tonic will you use? Can you write about these 5 threats in the chat box? And those who are watching it at home, can you please write it on the piece of paper or the notebook that is lying in front of you, so that I get that comfort that now you know how to deal with this question. It's a small request from my side. Please do it fast. Great. Safi tonic. I'm not able to hear you, but I know you are getting the point that I'm trying to convey. Great. Great. Now let's come to the another point where we deal, how we'll be actually overcoming these threats. Right. How many of you have watched Avengers? Even if you have not, I will tell you. In Avengers, what are these Avengers facing? They are facing threats from different parts of the world, different parts of the universe. Okay, sir. So these are also the threats, and now what we'll do to deal with these threats? We will provide some safeguards. Sir, what are these safeguards? We will collect all the Avengers. Now the Avengers here will not be Iron Man. The Avengers here will not be Wonder Woman or Captain America, but we will make our own selection based on the subject of auditing. Let's do this selection. First of all, we'll call Doctor Strange. Sir, what will Doctor Strange bring? He will bring the time stone. Generally, what happens in auditing, we all accept this fact that the time is limited. So if we increase the time, if we increase the resources, somewhere we can increase the quality of our audit, and somewhere we can deal with the threats. So if we allocate additional time and resources to audit, then we can deal with these threats. So the first Avenger in our game is additional time and resources. So the second Avenger is the reviewer. Why we are calling a reviewer? To deal with the self-review threat. We don't want to review our work on our own. We want an external reviewer who is not a part of our team to review the work that has been performed by us to mitigate the self-review threat. So first one, whom did we call? Sir, we called Dr. Strange to bring the time stone, additional time and resources. Second one, we called a reviewer who should not be the part of our team because he's reviewing our work to make sure we deal with the self-review threat. Third thing, what we'll do, we'll call a partner and his team. we'll call a partner and his team which is not a part of the assurance. So what do we mean by assurance teams? Assurance means the people who deal with audit. Apart from audit, whatever teams that are there, for example, in Big Four, what are the other teams apart from assurance? There can be tax teams, there can be internal audit teams, there can be management consultancy teams, there can be IT teams, there different types of teams can be there. Data analytics team, right? I have also worked with a data analytics team. We do involve such kind of teams during our audit. So what I will do, I will involve different partners with their engagement teams with a separate reporting line. What do we mean by reporting line? Reporting line is basically who reports to whom. An article reports to his executive, executive reports to his assistant manager reports to the manager reports to the director, director to the partner. So with a separate reporting line, teams which are not the part of assurance, non-assurance teams, we will also call them. And in the end, just to get that more energy, we will get an audit firm. So till now we were getting an individual person called a reviewer. Then we move to a larger extent, partner and his team, and now we are going to a bigger extent where we are actually involving a firm to perform or re-perform a part of the engagement, so that we get a newer perspective on how the audit has to be done. You are getting the point, sir? How are we going to deal with the threats? First of all, what did we get? Some additional time and resources. What are the resources that we are planning to get? A reviewer, a partner and his team, and a firm that will perform a part or re-perform a part of the engagement. Now all the Avengers are collected. What do you think? All the confidential information should be shared with everyone. Should I share my confidential information with everyone, or I should separate the teams when dealing with confidential nature things? Tell me, what should I do? Just tell me, I will listen to it. What should I do when I am dealing with the confidential nature things? Should I share my confidential things with everyone, or should I separate the things when I'm separate the teams when I'm dealing with things of confidential nature? So you should separate the teams. The core team members should know about the confidential things. The people who are not the part of core team, they should not know about it. And this is the last step. We will separate the teams when dealing with the matters of confidential nature. This is how we are going to deal with the threats. So what are the 5 ways of dealing with the threats? First of all, additional time and resources. Who gave it us? Just remember it in your mind, Dr. Strange. Second thing, what did we do? We got a reviewer, then we got a partner and his team, then we got a firm to perform or re-perform a part of engagement, then we separated them while dealing with the matters of confidential nature. That is the answer that you need to remember. Did you get this point? Yes or no? Just read through it, you will get it fine. First of all, what do? We assign additional time and qualified personnel to required tasks when the engagement has been accepted. Then having an appropriate reviewer who is not a part of my team to review the work performed and advise to address the self-review threat. Then using different partners and the engagement teams with separate reporting lines for provision of non-assurance services. As I told you, non-assurance services, it can be data analytics, can be tax, it can be anything else apart from audit. Then involving another firm to perform or re-perform a part of engagement, and then separating the teams when dealing with the matters of confidential nature. These are the 5 things that you need to remember. Just remember the thought, remember the things that we just did it right here. Everything is easy. Did you get these 5 points? Asked in May 19 examination. So if this question is repeated, you should get 5 out of 5. Don't leave any mark in the question paper. Are these 5 points clear? Yes or no? Quickly let me know. Tell me, fast, tell me. Whoa. Well and good. Yes, it is clear, sir. Yes, sir. Clear, sir. Great, sir. Come on. Now we'll move to a very easy topics. Sir, what are the easy topics? Read and skip topics. I call them read and skip topics. Just read these topics, skip these topics, move ahead. So first part of this read and skip list is Section 8 of Chartered Accountant Act 1949. What does the Section 8 says? It talks about disqualification. So disqualification, yes, as in law we study about the disqualification of directors. In Chartered Accountant Act we study about the disqualification of members. So disabilities for the purpose of membership. It says that if you are a tiny, small, childish person of an age of 19 years, 20 years, you can't become a chartered accountant. first attain the age of 21 years, and then only will allow you to be a chartered accountant. So at least 21 years you should be there. Then if someone is of unsound mind, and that unsound mind is not something that his friends call him, it should not be that his friends should call him a maniac. He should be adjudged as such by a competent court. So if a competent court says that that person is of unsound mind, then that person is disabled from the purpose of membership. Then another part, undischarged insolvent, that means his liabilities have exceeded the assets, he is not able to pay off the debts, and he is an undischarged insolvent. That means he cannot enter into any transaction with any person. So he is again disqualified. But then comes, sir, is discharged insolvent allowed? The answer is yes. The general answer is yes. But remember, that person should also have a certificate from a court. Sir, what kind of certificate he should have? A certificate that his insolvency was caused because of misfortune. Misfortune means that it was his destiny. It was in his destiny that he had to get insolvent. So if that, you can say, insolvency was caused due to misfortune, then only he is exempted. But if it was caused due to his illegal activities, because of his own mistakes, then again he is disqualified for the purpose of membership. So just remember one thing, sir, is the undischarged insolvent disqualified? The short answer is yes, undischarged insolvent is disqualified. But what about a discharged insolvent? Discharged insolvent is not disqualified generally, but he should have a certificate that from a court that his insolvency was caused by misfortune. If he is not having such a certificate, then again even a discharged insolvent would also become disabled for the purpose of membership. Got it, sir? Another part is, if a person is convicted by a competent court within or without, it should be outside India, within or outside India, of an offense involving moral turpitude, that is morally incorrect, and he is punishable with a transportation or imprisonment, then that person is also disabled for the purpose of membership. But if the central government has by an order in writing removed the disability, then he can act as a chartered accountant. So only and only if the central government allows such member, then only such person can act as a member of the institute. And the last one is, if he is removed from the membership of ICI because of conducting a professional or other misconduct, then also that person is disabled for the purpose of membership. So I hope you have got these points. Just revise them quickly. He has not attained the age of 21 years, disabled from the purpose of membership. He is a person of unsound mind and it has been judged by a competent court, not allowed to act as a member of institute. Again, he is an undischarged insolvent, not allowed to act as a member. But if he is a discharged insolvent, he can act provided he has certificate. If he is discharged and has certificate, then he can act as a member. Now comes the next point. He has been convicted by a court for offense involving moral turpitude. He did something which was morally incorrect. He may be involved in money laundering, a certain activity like that, and he has been convicted with transportation. Transportation, we call it kala pani ki saza. Okay, so transportation is being saying you are transported to an unknown island. On that island, no human being is there, only and only animals, and you are left there. So this is called transportation. So if you are being convicted and sent for transportation or imprisonment, then you can't be a member. What is an exception to it? If the central government allows, then only you can be a member. And the last but not the least, if you have done any professional or other misconduct, you can't be the member of the institute. This is all the things that you need to remember. Yes, sir, we got the point. Now comes the next point. What are the different types of members? So there are two types of members. The first ones are, before that, let me just give you a flow chart. What do you think? How do you become a member of the institute? So the flow works like this. First of all, you complete your CA final examination. Yes, sir. Plus, you get your articleship completion certificate. Articleship completion certificate. Got the sir. If we fulfill both these two conditions, you complete your CA final examination, you get the articleship completion certificate, then only you are eligible. Then you are only eligible to apply for registration as a member. Then only you are eligible to apply for registration as a member. I hope you got the point. Yes, sir, we got the point. And when you apply for registration as a member, then only you get the membership. And after membership, you have two options. So what are the two options? Whether you want a COP or not. If you want a COP, you make an additional application that I want a COP. If you don't want a COP, you don't make that additional application. So first you become the member of the institute, then you get the certificate of practice. When you are applying for a member, you can make an add-on that I want to add a COP to it. As you order from Swiggy and Zomato, when you order a burger, what type of add-ons you make? Sir, we order fries, we order Pepsi, we order nuggets. So this is an add-on that you can also make in institute's cart. When you are applying to be registered as a member, you can also make an add-on of COP, that is a certificate of practice. Again, it is optional. It is completely optional whether you want to apply for a COP or not. Why it is optional? Because not every member will act as a member in practice. He can also serve, he can also be a member in service. He can also act as an employee. Did you get this flow, sir? Yes, sir, we got the flow. Now let's discuss what we were discussing. So what can be the different types of members? So I say when you are first registering as a member, you will be an associate member. Your name will be entered in the register of members and you will be entitled to use the letters ACA after your name. Then who is a fellow member? Fellow member is nothing. Fellow member is nothing but an associate member. But an associate member who has spent 5 years in this profession. Who has spent 5 years in this profession. After 5 years, the ACA becomes FCA, fellow chartered accountant. Just get this point. So 5 years is something that you need to remember. It can be asked in MCQ. After how many years ACA will be eligible to call himself a FCA? You just need to remember this time limit of 5 years, that after 5 years ACA can be called as a FCA. Got it, point, sir? So that's all that you need to know. Just read these points, that associate member who has been in continuous practice in India for at least 5 years, he can become an FCA, plus a member who has been in associate for continuous period of not less than 5 years and who possesses such qualification experience equivalent to continuous practice for period of 5 years as CA, that person can also be acting as a FCA. But I know people who have been in industry, who have not been practicing, still they use FCA after their name. So in general common parlance, you can say a person who has been an ACA for 5 years, he can be regarded as an FCA. Now comes the next point, removal of name from the register. Can our name be removed from the register of members? The answer is yes. What is this register? Is this the class register or what register? Just look at here. What are you doing, man? I am doing the easy topics. That doesn't mean you are enjoying. Okay. Just look at here and have your attention here. These are very important points. Can be asked in MCQ. Just look here. So yeah, what I am talking about is removal of name from the register. Which register? Which register? Tell me in the chat box. I want to see who is alive in this class, who is actually waking up, and the ones who are just keeping their eyes open and sleeping. These are the people who will get a lot of pity from my side. Okay, so just tell me in the chat box, which type of register are we talking about? Removal of name from the register. Which register are we talking about? Classmate register or which register? What is this register? Quickly tell me. Great. So Sarumati is waking and Harthik is also attentive, Gopichand is attentive, Rachel is attentive, Rajesh is also attentive. Great. So I am talking about the register of members, right, sir? So removal of name from the register of members, what can be the different cases in which my name can be removed? First of all, if I am removed from this world, my name will be removed. So removed from this world means I am dead. So if a person is dead, how can he be a member of ICI? He will not be a member of ICI. Again, if a person has made a request to ICI that his name should be removed from the register of members, then his name can be removed. If he has not paid the prescribed fee which is required to be paid by him, his name will be removed. Sir, what does this point says? What does this point says? That if he has not paid the prescribed fees, we have paid so much fees the time we entered into this course. When we gave our foundation exam, we paid the fees. When we gave the intermediate examinations, we paid the fees. When we were doing our what you call it, orientation course, ITT, advanced ITT, MCS, we paid the fees. Even during the final examination, we are paying the fees. Even after becoming the member of ICI, we have to pay the fees. The answer is yes. You are in for some disappointment. You have to pay the fees, but don't worry, that fees is not too much. When you will be earning in lakhs and crores, the fees is only in few thousands. Only around 3,000, 4,000, 2,000, not much. So that will be very reasonable for you. So if you have not paid the prescribed fee which is required to be paid by you, then again your name can be removed from the register of members. And the last point is you are disqualified under section 8. So what do we mean by disqualified under section 8? The scenarios that we discussed in section 8. What were the scenarios? You have not achieved the age of 21 years. What can be the second scenario? You are a person of unsound mind declared by a court. You are a person who is an undischarged insolvent. You are a discharged insolvent, but you don't have the certificate. You have been convicted by an competent court. And the last one was you have conducted a professional or other misconduct. Are these points clear? Yes or no? Sir, these points are clear. Now comes the amazing part which ICI has highlighted very well in the study material. We'll also discuss it in detail. Sir, let us know. This is very important from MCQ point of view. So focus it here. It can happen that I may not pay the fees on the due date. So let's say the due date was 30th of September. Let's say the due date was 30th of September. I did not pay my fees as a member on the due date, that was 30th of September. What will happen? My name will be removed from the register of members. Let's say I pay the fees on 1st of November. What will happen then? If I pay the fees on 1st of November, I pay the whole late fees on 1st of November, then my name will be again put back in the register of members. So it says if your name was removed because you did not pay the fees on time and you pay the fees within the same financial year to which that fees relates, we will enter your name retrospectively from the same date it was removed from the register. So if the application for restoration and requisite fees is made within the same year of removal, restoration will be with effect from the date it was removed from the register. So from the date it was removed, it will be considered to be restored back from the same date if I am paying my due fees in the same year to which it relates to. Got the point, sir? Yes, got the point. Now comes the next point. If my name was removed because of an order of Board of Discipline, we'll discuss it about in the later classes, but just consider it as a body of ICI. Board of Discipline, Disciplinary Committee, these are the courts of ICI. You can consider them to be a courts of ICI, like we have High Court, Supreme Court, na? These are the decision making courts of ICI. Board of Discipline, Disciplinary Committee, or what can be their appellate authority or the High Court. If my name has been removed because of their orders, how do you think my name can be put back? Again, on the basis of their orders, as simple as it can get. So the restoration will also happen in accordance with the orders. And in the last case, it just says, in other cases, if my name has been removed, then I need to get my name back in the register. So the date I will pay my fees with the application, it will consider to be restored back from that same date. So the restoration shall be with effect from the date on which the application and the fees is received in other cases. So let me ask you a question, a very, very simple question. In case I am talking about financial year, let's say 22-23. Yes, sir. Till what date I have to pay the fees? Let's say 30th of September 2022. Got it, sir. I did not pay the fees. My name has been removed. But I paid the fees. I paid the fees, sir. You paid the fees on what date? I paid the fees on, let's say, 1st of December 2022. What do you think would be the date from which my name would be restored back? Let's say my name was removed on the same day. I did not pay the fees. My name was removed on, let's say 1st October my name was removed. Let's say 1st October my name was removed. My name was removed on 1st October. I paid the fees on 1st December 22. What will be the effective date of restoration? What will be the effective date of restoration? 1st October my name was removed. I paid the fees on 1st December 22. What will be the effective date of restoration in this case? 1st October 22, because it will be considered a retrospective restoration. The day it was removed, it will be considered to be restored back from the same day. Right. Great. Now let's consider the second case. In this case, my name was again removed on, let's say, 1st October 22, but I paid the fees. I paid the fees on, let's say, 1st of May 2023. I paid the fees on, let's say, on 1st May 2023. Now in this case, what will be the effective date of restoration? What will be the effective date of restoration? First May 2023, because in this case the financial year 22-23 is over. This case 22-23 is over. So in this case the effective date of restoration will be 1st May 2023. That was our last case. That was our last case. Restoration will be in effect from the date on which application and fees are received. Got the point? Yes, sir. Now another point. See, all are very simple points. Nothing to worry about, nothing to learn. Just read it, move ahead. That's all. Now comes the last point. If a person is not a chartered accountant, but tells everyone, I am a chartered accountant, I am a member of ICI, look at me, I am a member of ICI, I cleared my CA final examination. But that person has not even passed CA intermediate. That person has not even passed CA foundation, leaves CA final examination and is telling everyone, I am a chartered accountant, look at me, and ICI gets to know about it. What do you think ICI should do? Sir, ICI should penalize that person. That person should be heavily penalized. Similarly, if a person is a member of institute but is not having a certificate of practice but is telling everyone that I am a practicing chartered accountant, he is not having a certificate of practice. And let me tell you, for certificate of practice, you have to pay some additional fees. He has not paid that additional fees, he is not having that certificate of practice but is telling everyone that I am a practicing chartered accountant. So that person is also on a similar front that the other person who is not a chartered accountant but is telling others that I am a chartered accountant. So both these people are trying to deceive the other persons. So ICI puts a heavy penalty of 1,000 rupees on these two persons. 1,000 rupees. So this is what it is written here, that section 24 of Chartered Accountant Act 1949 provides that a person who is not a member of ICI represents that he is a member of ICI or uses a designation CA, or being a member of ICI but is not having a certificate of practice represents that he is in practice or practicing as a chartered accountant, he shall be punishable on the first conviction with a fine which may extend to, see, not even 1,000 but it can extend to 1,000. What an amazing thing. So it can extend to 1,000 rupees. And if he's not learning in the first case, he is doing this thing again, he is repeating the mistake again, then this fine can extend to 5,000 rupees, plus he may also be required to serve imprisonment of up to 6 months or both. So here you need to understand, on any subsequent conviction with the imprisonment which may extend to 6 months or with a fine which may extend to 5,000 or with both. So what if the CA gives any opinion or service during the date from 1st October 22 to 1st May 23? In the second case, what are the consequences? So see, if a chartered accountant's name has been removed from the register of members. If a chartered accountant's name has been removed from the register of members, he is not a chartered accountant. He cannot hold himself out as a chartered accountant. So this is the case that will come here. If he is providing his services in his capacity as a member of ICI, he is holding himself out as a member of ICI, then 1,000 rupees penalty will be charged, nothing more. This is something that you just need to understand. Got it, Sanya? Has everyone got this point? The penalty for falsely claiming to be a member, it can be asked in MCQ. Remember it. Very easy MCQ if it is asked in the exam. So just remember it with this point of view. Only a penalty of 1,000 rupees and subsequent conviction penalty up to 5,000 or 6 months or both. That's it. Did everyone get this point of penalty for falsely claiming to be a member? Clear, sir. Great. Now comes the next point, cancellation and restoration of COP. Cancellation and restoration of COP. Just take a 1 minute water break, drink water, and then we'll discuss this cancellation, and then we'll discuss this point of members deemed to be in practice. Just close your eyes. Just close your eyes. I'll make you do a small exercise. Okay? So this will also happen when you will be studying now. So I'll just give you a small thing. Everyone close your eyes. Once you close your eyes, just type on the chat box closed, so that I get to know you are following my orders, right? Those who are watching at home, follow the orders. Close your eyes. Yes. Just take a deep breath in. Just take a deep breath in. Slowly, slowly breathe in. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Now slowly, slowly, slowly breathe out. Take another deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. hold, hold, hold. Now slowly, 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 slowly breathe out. One last time, take another deep breath in. 3, 2, 1. Hold, hold, hold. Now slowly, slowly, slowly breathe out. Just rub your palms. Just rub your palms. Great, great, great. Now slowly put your palms on your eyes. Don't rub your eyes. Don't pressurize your eyes. Just slowly put your palms on your eyes. Great. Now taking your time, you can open your eyes. Just relax. Just relax. Have a sip or two of the water. Just have some water. Done? Feeling refreshed? All good? Should we resume? Quickly tell me. Quickly tell me, because I need your next 20-25 minutes. Full josh, full power for the next 20-25 minutes. Yes, sir. We are ready. All good? I hope you have not got into a hibernation. Yes, sir. Done. Great. So let's talk about this easy topic called cancellation and restoration of COP. So as your name can be removed from the register of members, your COP can also be taken back by the register. So when can the COP can be taken? As I told you, first you become a member, then you become a member in practice. So if you are no longer a member of the institute, you can't be the member in the practice. So it says that COP shall be liable for cancellation if your name is removed from the register. So if it says not a member of ICI, then not a member in practice. Simple. If the council is satisfied that the certificate of practice that you got was on the basis of some incorrect, false details, or it was issued incorrectly, then again your COP can be taken back. If you have stopped practicing as a chartered accountant, you don't need the COP again, you can surrender it. Next point, if you have not paid the annual fees of COP till 30th of September, if you have not paid the annual fees of COP till 30th of September of the relevant year, then your COP can be cancelled. And if your COP is cancelled, you have to surrender the same. So to whom do we have to surrender? The secretary of ICI. The next point it says, as we talked about in register of members, if your name has been removed for non-payment of fees, but you pay the fees in the same year, then it is considered to be restored back from the date your name was removed. Same thing is written here, that Regulation 11 on restoration of COP states that on an application made in approved form and payment of such fees, council may restore the COP with effect from the date it was cancelled due to non-payment of annual fees for the COP and whose application complete in all respects together with fees has been received before the expiry of relevant year. So if you are paying the fees plus your application is complete and that fees has been paid before the expiry of the years, before the expiry of relevant year, then your COP will be considered to be restored with effect from the date it was cancelled. Your COP can be considered to be restored with effect from the date it was cancelled if you are paying the fees and the application complete in all respects before the expiry of the year. To whom? To the secretary of ICI. Very easy point, nothing difficult here, just need to read and understand. Now we are going to talk about a very, very important topic from exam point of view, the members deemed to be in practice. This section has two relevance. First of all, if a person is doing the activities which are stated in this reference, just look at me here and try to understand the relevance of this section that we are going to talk about here. This section talks about different activities. If a chartered accountant is performing these activities, he will be considered to be deemed to be a CA in practice. If a person is deemed to be a CA in practice, he should have a certificate of practice. First thing. Second thing, these activities you can consider to be allowed by ICI to a member in practice. These activities are allowed to a member in practice. So these are the two interpretations of this section. First interpretation is a person is deemed to be in practice. That means if he is performing these activities, he should have a certificate of practice. Second thing is these activities are allowed by ICI to a member in practice. So what are these activities? Even if we don't read this section, we all know about it. Auditing, accounting, giving someone understanding about the AS, Ind AS, or offering to provide your services as an accountant, everything is covered as a CA in practice. So this is what it's written here. As per section 2, subsection 2, remember this section. You got to remember this section. It's a very important section. Section 2, subsection 2 of Chartered Accountant Act 1949. It says that a member of ICI shall be deemed, we will consider it to be valid, that he will be deemed to be in practice if he engages himself in the practice of accountancy. He is practicing as an accountant, or, remember, or is written here. Even the second point is valid. Or he offers to perform or performs. You are getting the wordings here. Even if he does not perform, but he only offers to perform, then also he will be deemed to be in practice. So if a person is offering to perform or he is performing, so what he is offering to perform, on what he is performing a service. He is performing a service which involves auditing or preparation or verification or certification, auditing, preparation, verification or certification of FS. What do we mean by FS? The financial statements. So if you are offering or performing to offer, or if you are offering or performing the audit, certification, preparation of the financial statements, or you hold yourself out as an accountant, you tell everyone that you are an accountant, you will be deemed to be a CA in practice. Another thing, if you are rendering the professional services, what kind of professional services? About the matters of principle or relating to accounting, presentation or certification of financial facts and data. Sir, what do we mean by the matters of principle? What do we mean by the matters of principle? These are the matters related to interpretation. Sir, what interpretation? Interpretation of law, interpretation of accounting standards, interpretation of Ind AS. These are some things that you have learned in CA final. So when you get into the profession, you can charge for it. If someone is asking you about Ind AS 116 lease accounting, you are providing your expert advice on this. This is how it has to be done. You are charging for it. You will be deemed to be a member in practice. And the last one, which is the most important one, and you will be laughing when I say it, sir, this is the most important one. Such other services which in the opinion of counsel are rendered by a CA in practice. So this is the easiest one, and you are saying it is the most important one. Such other services which in the opinion of counsel are rendered by a CA in practice. My friend, ICI has given a list of all these services. ICI has given a list of all these services, and it is one of the favorite things that ICI likes to test in the examination. So it says, pursuant to section 2 subsection 2 clause 4. This is what it is talking about. This is your section 2 subsection 2. This is your clause 4. So it says, pursuant to section 2 subsection 2 clause 4, council has passed a resolution permitting a CA in practice to render entire range of management consultancy and other services. A CA can render entire range of management consultancy and other services. What are these management consultancy and other services? Before we jump onto the list, I just want to give you an insight about it so that you find the list very easy. What did we study in CA Intermediate? Financial management. What was financial management all about? Capital budgeting, right sir? Working capital management, yes sir. Cash flow statements, cash budgets. This is all about financial management was all about. Let's talk about costing. Costing was all about budgeting, standard costing, pricing, computing the price of something. Yes. Then we studied strategic management. What was strategic management all about? Devising the strategies and all, right? And then strategic management was also about researching, market research. Yes. So these were all about that we discussed. Now, let me ask you a question. If I am a chartered accountant in practice, I am acting as an auditor of my client, right sir? If my client wants to appoint an accountant, a basic accountant who should just know how to pass the journal entries, who will have a better knowledge about the skills that are to be possessed by the accountant, my client or me? Sir, you will have a better skills. So in case my client asks me that, sir, can you please take the interview of these 5 people whom I have shortlisted, and the one you find the best, I will appoint him as an accountant. Can I provide such personal recruitment service? Should it be allowed? The answer is yes. It is the basic service. It is the basic help that I can provide to my client. Because if my client, if he will have a proper accountant with the proper skills, he will be able to prepare better financial statements. So should this service be allowed? The answer is yes. Personal recruitment services are also allowed to a chartered accountant. Got it, sir. Then that personnel that has been appointed, who do you think will have a better knowledge about what should be the fees that should be paid? What should be the salary that should be given? I will have a better knowledge because I know what's the effort involved in preparing the financial statements and accounting. So even I can help my client in preparing the executive incentive plans and everything for that particular person. Got it, sir. Who do you think should have the power to audit? Chartered accountant. All types of audit, be it management audit, operational audit, energy audit, environmental audit, statutory audit, all audits are there in my scope, so I can do every audit. Now I will discuss one important service with you. Just listen to me and everything will be clear. Do you know a lot of IPOs are coming in the industry right now? Yes, sir, a lot of IPOs are coming. What was the latest IPO that got most famous? It was the LIC IPO. When these IPOs come, who do you think helps the company in everything that is related to IPO? It is the chartered accountant. From the selection of underwriters, from the selection of advertising agencies, from the preparation of prospectus, everything chartered accountant is involved. So a chartered accountant can also become an advisor or consultant to an issue. A chartered accountant can also advise his clients on how he should issue the securities. He can also provide his consultancy on how the security should be issued. Got the point, sir? These are the things that you need to remember that a chartered accountant can do. What chartered accountant in practice can't do is 3 things. He can't go to a pub. You understand what a pub is? Do you all understand what a pub is? A pub is a place where you should not go. This is something that you need to understand. So pub is a place where you should not go. So where all the hard drinks and other things are served. Okay. So pub means PUB. P means portfolio management services, U means underwriting services, and B means brokering services. These are the 3 services which are not allowed to a chartered accountant. Let's read through the services. We are done with the topic. First of all, what are the things that are allowed? Financial management planning, financial policy determination, capital structure planning, advice regarding raising the finances, working capital management. As I told you, whatever we studied in financial management, everything is allowed. Preparation of project reports, feasibility studies, it is allowed. Preparation of cash budgets, cash flow statement, profitability statement, statement of sources, application of funds, that we know by a statement of fund flow statement. I hope you all have prepared a fund flow statement during your inter preparation. Yes, sir. Then preparation of budgets, including capital budgeting, revenue budgeting. Inventory management, how much inventory should we hold in the warehouse, how much inventory should be there in the production, everything a chartered accountant can help out with. Material handling, how should the materials be handled between the warehouse to the production. Storage, market research and demand studies. My client wants to launch a product. He wants to research the market, whether the product will have a proper demand or not. Chartered accountant can help. The product has to be launched. A chartered accountant can help the client in knowing what should be the price of the product based on the pricing strategies that we study in costing. Then another management decision making, chartered accountant can help. Management accounting system, cost control, venue analysis, chartered accountant can help. Control methods, management information and reporting. You must have heard about this term called MIS reporting. How many of you have heard about this term called MIS reporting? Sir, I have heard. I am sure many of you must have heard about MIS reporting during your articleship. If you have not, there is something called management information system reporting. MIS reports are prepared every, you can say 15 days and 30 days, so that the management gets to know how the organization is moving, how the operations are going on in the organization. This is the service that we talked about in our initial discussion, personnel recruitment and selection services, setting up their executive incentive plans, wage incentive plans. Pub full form I will discuss. Don't worry. Okay. I told you now all types of audit chartered accountant can do. So he can do management audit, he can do operational audit. Again, you must have studied about this concept of registered valuation. The valuation concept you must have studied in Companies Act 2013. There is a miscellaneous topics in Companies Act regarding the valuations. I think it's around your section 257 or 258, which talks about that the valuation shall be done by a registered valuer. So can a chartered accountant become a registered valuer? The answer is yes. business policy, corporate planning, development, growth, diversification, everything strategic to an organization, it can be done by a chartered accountant. So do we need to learn all these points? No, you just need to read them to understand that everything is acceptable as a CA in practice. What is not acceptable, I will guide you. Organization structure, behavior, training programs, work study, job description, job evaluation you can do. You must have studied this amazing subject called EISSM, or you must have studied ITSM. What this IT and EIS relates to, it relates to the EDP environment, the computer related environment. Since you have studied about the technicalities, you can handle this area as well. Now comes this one that I was talking to you about was IPOs. So you can act as an advisor or consultant to an issue. Sir, what is this issue? This issue is related to the issue of securities. Here we are talking about the issue of securities, issue of shares. So whenever a company is issuing the shares, it will make a prospectus. How this prospectus has to be made, how the memorandum has to be made, who will help? A chartered accountant. Again, drafting and filing of the listing agreements, completing the formalities with the stock exchange, ROC and SEBI, who will help? Chartered accountant. Who will prepare the publicity budgets? I told you now, all kinds of budgets are prepared by chartered accountants. Who will help in the selection? Remember, here we are talking about the selection. It is not the chartered accountant who will perform these services. He will only help in the selection. Whose selection? Advertisement media, centers for holding conferences for brokers, investors, bankers to the issue, collection centers where they collect all the money, brokers to the issue, underwriters, underwriting agreement. So whenever the selection part comes, it is the chartered accountant that will help in the selection of all these parties. He can also give advice. See, everywhere the chartered accountant is not doing the activity. He is either advising, he is helping in the selection. So have this essence with you. Advice regarding the selection of various agencies connected with the issue regarding the registrar to issue, printers and advertising agency. So it is not the chartered accountant who is printing the documents. It is not the chartered accountant who is advertising. Remember, he is just helping in the selection of these parties. Right, sir? He is also advising on the post-issue activities, that is the follow-up steps, which include listing of instruments and dispatch of certificates and refunds. What do we mean by refunds? If you have applied for any IPO, your chances of getting an IPO is very less. So if you don't get the amount, you get a refund from the company. So this is what I was trying to convey. Everything is allowed to a chartered accountant practice, but pub is not permitted. Pub is not permitted. It is not permitted for a chartered accountant to go to the pub. Do search for pub on Google. You will get the results. Why I'm not saying this? So pub means portfolio management services, underwriting and broking services. But it says investment counseling in respect of securities is allowed. Do you think there is a conflict here? Do you think there is a conflict here? Just tell me in the chat box, yes or no. Portfolio management is not allowed, but investment counseling is allowed. Do you feel there is a conflict? Just let me know. Just I want to get your, you can say, perspective on this. I will give you a break. I will give you a break here. I will give you a break here. Guaranteed. I will give you a break here. Just complete this part. Just let me know. Is there a conflict here? Portfolio management is not allowed. It says explanation mein that portfolio management is not permitted, but investment counseling is permitted. Say yes, sir. There is a conflict. There is no conflict. Right. So Vishnu Priya got it right. Vishnu Priya got it right. Everyone is saying yes, sir. Conflict is there, but there is no conflict. When it comes to investment counseling, you are just counseling. You are just telling the other person where to invest his funds. But when it comes to portfolio management services, you are asking your client to transfer his money to your account, and then that money will be invested by you in the different types of securities to make that portfolio. Two are different things. In the first thing, as a chartered accountant, you are just giving an advice. You are just counseling your client where he should invest his money. He should put some money in PPF. He should put some money in mutual fund, some money in blue chip stocks. You are just advising him. You are not actively involved in managing his funds. But when it comes to portfolio management services, you are actively involved in managing the funds of your client, putting them in different securities. Do you think that is the work of chartered accountant in practice? The answer is no. That's why it is not allowed by ICI. Similarly, broking services. Chartered accountant is not made for acting as a stockbroker or share broker. It is not allowed. Underwriting services. He is not meant to be an underwriter. So pub is not allowed. Portfolio management, underwriting and broking services is not allowed. But when it comes to investment counseling, investment counseling is allowed. Very good, Rachel. Very good, Hardik. Right. Now comes the next point. Can a chartered accountant in practice become registrar to an issue? Just mark a star here. The answer is yes. He can become a registrar to an issue for transfer of shares or other securities. Can he do quality audit, environment audit, energy audit? As I told you, it's a trick to remember. Any type of audit chartered accountant is allowed to do. Now comes the banking sector. What do you think is the major problem in the banking sector? So the major problem is NPAs, non-performing assets. These are the advances which are difficult to recover. Who do you think can apply the mind in getting these advances back, in getting this money back? Sir, it is the chartered accountant. He can actually apply his mind and provide that consultancy to the banking sector. Remember, it is written, what it is written. See, ICI can play here. It is written recovery consultant, not recovery agent. It is not the chartered accountant who will go and recover the money. He will only provide his consultancy on how this money can be recovered back. So he can provide recovery consultancy in the banking sector. Now the next point, insurance financial advisory services under IRDA Act 99, including insurance brokerage. Do you think there is a conflict here? I said pub services are not allowed. In pub, P means portfolio management, U means underwriting, B means broking services. But now I am saying insurance brokerage is allowed. I am saying insurance brokerage is allowed. Is there a conflict here? Again, there is no conflict. Insurance brokerage is not broking. You are not acting as an insurance agent. You are just providing insurance brokerage. Insurance brokerage, if you search on Google, it just says you are just advising your client you are helping your clients in selecting the right insurance product, be it health insurance, be it life insurance. So insurance financial advisory services, including insurance brokerage, is also allowed. Now comes the next part, insolvency professional allowed, administration services, routine nature services allowed. Then it stays a short note, just read through it. A member of ICI is deemed to be in practice during the period he renders services with the armed forces. So during the period he is serving the armed forces, he will be considered to be a member in practice. Now comes the last point before we take a break. Just look at me here right now. I need your attention for the next 4 minutes. Just 4 minutes attention I want. After 4 minutes, you can have a party, you can have a break, and after the break, we'll catch up with the other part of this session. So before the session, that's all. Just give me 4 minutes, and after these 4 minutes, I'll give you a proper badhiya wala break. I'll give you a proper break. Just look at me here. Just look at me. Yeah. Have you been through school? Yes, sir. We have done our school education. During the school days, what was the most memorable moment? Sir, most memorable moment, we would have to think of one. There have been a lot of memorable moments. So I will tell you one moment. The moment your teacher used to punish you. So what's so memorable about it? Remember now, if there had been no punishment, what would have been the fun? Now when I tell you, when your teacher used to punish you, you are able to recall something at least. Otherwise, you would have not been able to recall it. And you have a smile on your face. You are smiling. Yeah, there used to be a time when we used to get our punishment. So in our school, what used to happen was, how the teacher used to punish us was just that the teacher used to ask us to stand up and just go out of the room and stand out of the room in the corridor. Why did they used to do this? So that when I'm standing in the corridor, people are moving around, they can see this person, this student has been punished, and I can feel guilty. I can feel guilty for the acts that I did, for the mischief that I conducted in the class. This is how the teacher used to punish us. Right, sir? If during the punishment, again I am enjoying, again I am having a smiling face, again I am laughing, what do you think? Teacher will like it or the teacher will enhance my punishment? So the teacher can enhance your punishment. The expectation of teacher is not that you should be laughing or you should be enjoying. The only expectation of teacher is that you should realize your mistake instead of being normal, right? This is what ICI also believes in. ICI says if you have done something mischievous, if you have done something wrong and we have suspended your membership, then in that period you won't do anything that you could have done in your capacity as a member of ICI. So it just says if you as a member of ICI, you can make a representation before tax authorities, then you can't do such thing in case your membership certificate has been suspended, because this suspension has been done to make you realize the importance of being a member of ICI, the importance of conducting yourself in a very well and dignified manner. This is what it is written here. Just let's read through it. It says a CA whose name has been removed from the membership for professional or other misconduct, during such period of removal, he will not appear before the various tax authorities or other bodies before whom he could have appeared in his capacity as a member of ICI, because once a person becomes a member of ICI, he is bound by the provisions of Chartered Accountant Act 1949 and its regulations. So, if your name has been removed from the register, if your name you are being suspended, you can't do anything that you could have done as the member of ICI in your capacity as a member of ICI. If you do it, you will be guilty of misconduct. Why, sir? Because once you become a member of ICI, you are bound by the provisions of Chartered Accountant Act 1949 and its regulations. Is this point clear? Yes or no? I have given you the reference. I have given you the thought process of putting this provision. Is this point clear? Yes or no? If this point is clear, the next point is very easy. I'll just discuss it and give you the break. Quickly let me know. Yes or no? The water is also finished. I need to go for a break. Yes, once the membership is restored, you can take these activities back. Clear, sir? Now comes the last point. So the last point is very easy one. What is the last point? It just says companies will not practice as chartered accountants, because chartered accountants, as the name suggests, they should be either individual or firms. Body corporates are not allowed. But sir, we remember during CA, IPCC or intermediate, we were taught that body corporates cannot function as auditor, but LLP can. So can LLP act as a work as an auditor? LLP can. But LLP whose partner is a company, LLP whose partner is a company, it can't engage in practice. So companies can't engage in practice as a chartered accountants. Plus, if there is an LLP whose one of the partners is a company, that LLP can't also engage in practice. Just remember this short point, because maybe ICA can ask a MCQ on it. I'm not sure what's the relevance of this point here. It's something you just need to know. Companies can't practice as a chartered accountant. Even LLPs can't practice as a chartered accountant if one of their partners is a company. So guys, that's all before the break. I hope you enjoyed the session. After the break, we will discuss amazing 2-3 topics which are very interesting. You will enjoy it again, and let's catch up after the break. So that's all before the break. Go for the break, refresh yourself, have some water, take some deep breaths, and we'll catch up after the break of how many minutes break you want? 10 minutes. Let's take a break of 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. How much break you want? You let me know. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. How much break do you all want? Whatever you say, I will accept that. You have been a very, very good students throughout this session. You tell me, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you say, I'll accept it. Quickly let me know. Rachel says 5 minutes. Very, very good. Rachel says 5 minutes. 5, 15, 10, 10. So the average comes out to be 10 minutes. So 10 minutes break. After 10 minutes, we all catch up.